My father cannot fight, so I will take his place.
The northern invaders will kill her.
If I expose her, our own people will kill her. When we take...
Saturday morning.
All right, it is time again for yet another episode of Color Commentary, where we give you views from a different side. I, of course, am your host, Rashad, and my co-host,
Chuck Taylor here, guys. Definitely go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button when you see us on Facebook and on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you see us at. But yeah, let's get into this review. I always love Mulan, so let's talk about it. Nick says he's loving the pink. That's what I said.
Wow, really?
It does look kind of pinkish on here, I ain't gonna lie. I was like,
this is all red.
I like the red.
This is all red. I had to bring out my size in honor of Chinese culture. Yes, sir. Do it.
Yeah. Don't think that's Chinese culture, sir. Like Japanese.
Oh, well. Look, man, I don't have a sword, okay? It's the best I can do.
You better stop for the end of boycotting us or something.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody's all offended by everything.
Today we're going to be talking about the great new, I always say great, but it may not necessarily be great. I'm just it's something I say. It's a word. We're going to be talking about the new live-action version of Mulan here. And I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, because I know a lot of y'all probably thought that Mulan, with her great hair, I'd be wearing, one of my patented wigs here. But I'm like, I'm a dude dressed as a woman who's pretending to be a dude. That's confusing. So I'm just going to keep it normal. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be a dude and go from there. Particularly this, Nick thinks I'm wearing pink.
Yeah.
So let's get into this movie. What are your feelings on the live-action remake of Mulan, Mr. Chuck Taylor?
All right, so I'm non-spoiler. Let me say non-spoiler. I'm not going to speak too much, but I really liked the movie. I thought it was a cool spin off of the original. I like that it wasn't like a lot of the Disney movies. They've been like almost copycat of the cartoon. Some I really appreciate, and some I'm like, all right, they could do a little bit. They could add a little bit more to this story than just be exactly what the Disney cartoon version.
Lying. Hey, all that.
Yeah.
The only thing y'all added was following a turd blowing in the wind for 10 miles.
For real. So with this movie, I liked it. I mean, at first, I was a little like, I don't know. Would this be a spoiler? I don't think it would be a spoiler because it was told to people but way before the movie came out.
That Mushu's not in it?
That Mushu's not in it.
Right. Is that what you about to say?
Anything, but it's not no Eddie Murphy here with as Dragon. So I'm gonna let you know so you don't get mad. But that's been out for years. They told us that when they were starting making the movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
There'll be no black people in this movie, okay?
You know what?
There'll be no black people in this movie, okay?
There's no black people, no white people. It's just Asian people in this movie.
Right.
Completely.
That's true.
There's no other race. It's just Asian at its finest. So, but yeah, I thought, having the, I guess, crouching tiger, hidden dragon type of fight scenes, it was kind of cool seeing that with Mulan. Kind of reminded me a little bit of, I don't know if you've seen the, what's the other, it's not a cartoon, but it's with the panda bear.
Kung Fu Panda. It is a
Kung Fu Panda. So it looked like it took some of Kung Fu Panda's, like at least chi, like what they talked about, like how, fighting and how they use the strength and the answers, all that type of stuff. They put that all in this movie, and took out some of the comedy in there. It was a little bit of comedy. There's a little bit of humor in there, but it just wasn't, like it was on the cartoon. Like it was like so funny with the
Murphy cartoon. Inverted. Well, we already talked about Tenet.
Shut up. But this one still had a good story. I like the new characters they added to it to kind of fill in, the message they were trying to send to women and young girls. I really enjoyed the message. I followed that. I liked how empowered it made them feel. Watching with my daughter, she was like really excited, because seeing the women kind of being able to, really be their true selves and not have to be held back. Because one thing in that particular culture, women are, kind of put to the side a little bit. They're behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a son, then you're shamed. Like, your family's ashamed of you because you haven't had a boy. So seeing that, from that culture, seeing women really take a prominent role and really having a voice, I thought that was really needed, and I hope it was well received. I've seen some things online with boycott. I don't know why the boycott, whatever. But my opinion, I thought it was a good movie. Huh?
I shall explain it.
Please,
but not yet.
So I thought it was a good movie. It was fun to watch. All my kids liked it. Watched it in my mom's theater and down in her basement, and yeah, it was fun. It was like a night at the movies almost. So, what about you?
Full disclosure, I fell asleep on this movie. However, I fell asleep because I had a long day and I was tired, not because the movie was totally boring. However, I will say it wasn't the most exciting thing, So
you say
there's some movies that I've watched that I've made my way through because they wouldn't let me go to sleep. There's plenty of movies like that. I'm like, I'm going to sleep on this. Oh, smack! But nah, this one, it definitely let me go to sleep. But I think it's a generally okay movie. There's some things about it I didn't really care for. I didn't really care for the all of the CG that they used in this. I felt like if Mulan's character was a little bit more realistic, that would have kept me more interested. There's a lot of times where they use a lot of, fake stuff, and we're like, it just took me out of the movie. Like the way she's like kicking both staffs in the air, like she'd kick it across the field and stuff like that. I just wanted her to be just a regular, really good fighter, and that would have been enough for me. When she started doing that type of stuff,
let me ask you this: Did you like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or you didn't care for those fights?
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Yeah, I don't care for that. I don't care for those type of
the flight, when
the martial arts, huh?
Kind of like fighting in the air and like kicking the beams, and you don't like that type of fight. So you like just the regular hand.
It's okay. It depends on how it looks. Like I've never really been a big fan of Jet Li, and I think he's in this movie as well.
What?
It's like a lot of stuff.
Hold on.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. No. See, I am not a big fan of Jet Li. I like Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some real. We're gonna talk real. Let's talk about Jackie Chan. How all his stuff looks real.
Love Jackie Chan,
I don't need to have all these computer graphics. Just be good. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon and all that type of stuff, I'm good with it as long as it looks good. But if it's like, if the computer makes the bow staff do something that it couldn't possibly do, like it goes straight up and then it goes straight this way, it's like, that just takes me out of it. Like, I don't care how good you are. If you're doing something where you're really good, I'm trying to explain this in the right way. You're doing something in a way that, like, you kick the bow staff across the field and it looks like you could have done that, I'm all in. But when it's just doing stuff, it's just defying the laws of physics the way it looks. It's like, that looks
okay, so with me, I'm gonna just ask you this. So, do you have a problem when you watch sci-fi movies or superhero movies and they're fighting and they do something that nobody can do?
This is a martial arts movie. It's different.
Well, the chi is strong with this. What about Star Wars? You seen them over here Star Wars and up? You don't say nothing about them.
It depends on how it looks. If it looks ridiculous, like one of my favorite things is like when you watch the first Iron Man, if you want to go there when it comes to sci-fi, one of the things I like is when the very first time that you see him fly, the way that they did it was they lifted him off the ground by his feet, as opposed to pulling him up. Because when somebody's being pulled up, but it looks completely different than when somebody's jumping up. Does that make sense? It's like that doesn't look right. So when I see people do things where obviously they're being pulled up as opposed to jumping up, it just takes me out of what it looks like. So it just depends on what it looks like. In this one, there was a lot of good, cool fight scenes, but every now and then when they would do something that just looked ridiculous, it just took me out. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
I thought the movie was okay. There's a couple things in it. I didn't necessarily agree with the decision, so I was like, that kind of went in a different way than I expected. But I'll get into that when we talk about spoilers. Are we ready for spoilers?
Are we ready for spoilers?
All right, pull out your weapon, sir. Here we go. Spoiler. What you got?
Weapons. Okay, so so my spoiler, I liked how they added a few characters with her kind of showing that Mulan had skill before she got into the army, or before she went there. She didn't just learn everything there, that she actually had a power a little bit before. I know it's not necessarily like quote unquote real, but I thought it was kind of cool to see her that there was actually something special about her already. Because I don't think just learning, cool.
I can get with that. I mean, she had chi. I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
so I can get with that. So
she had that, and she was shunned. I guess that she could not really grow that because she was a girl. And it was like the whole time, hey, this is you're supposed to be giving us honor. You're not supposed to be fighting over here,
great sacrifices,
buildings and stuff, chasing chickens. You're not supposed to be doing that. Even though the father was super happy, like, oh my gosh, I love this. She's awesome. But then after he looks, he's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm sorry. You got to put on this makeup and walk around, and the matchmaker will find you a husband so you can give us honor. Like, so it was kind of like how they, they kind of were trying to break certain boundaries with this movie, that, been in place for a long time. So I like how they tested that. I like how they kind of had Mushu in there, I guess, in a way, but he was just not a dragon. He was a phoenix. He just showed up flying around. As
that was just weird.
So I will take his
weird.
place.
Yeah, I still thought the dragon would be good.
The northern invaders will kill her.
If I expose her, our own people will kill her.
When they just put it in their face, this is definitely not Eddie Murphy.
yeah, I guess so. They thought one of them laughs was about to come out. It was no Eddie Murphy. So, but yeah. So once it kind of gets moving, and she gets into the army, I like how they didn't use everything the same. They didn't make the general's son be like her teacher and something such, but actually one of the other, I guess, recruits or the other soldiers that she actually, has a connection with.
Revenge.
And,
my father.
How they build respect for one another.
What is your name,
soldier?
soldier?
The whole time,
Commander.
how she was able to release her chi. And then I like how by the end of the movie that she was able to be this. At first I was like, she's a girl. Because I don't know how they're going to take this. But I liked how they showed that everyone grew to understand, like, okay, she's it's not just because she's a woman. We respect her. She showed us, and she's shown us the whole time that she's the best of us, and we need to respect her and let her lead. And I like how they set that up by the end of the movie. So I thought it was a cool Disney story, with some fight scenes. I like how they had the witch, I guess, the other female antagonist in there, but it was kind of like the opposite of her. So it was like they were the same, but they had different paths.
Release!
That changed their direction. One turning evil and the other one being accepted. They showing that he stayed honest.
You would die
And the other one's
pretending
like,
to be
hey, they
something
don't,
you're
and
not.
nobody's gonna care
Yet
about
here
me.
I
except
stand,
I'm
proof
so
that there is a
I'm
place for
feeling
people like us.
I'm mad. So I like how they brought that in. I did not see Jet Li. I was like looking at the Emperor the whole time. I was like, he looked familiar. And I was like, is that Jet Li? And I was like, that is Jet Li. I was like, okay, so Jet Li on here. And I didn't know Jet Li definitely had that cheat because he was up there killing everybody with his fighting and stuff. I was like, okay, Jet Li is in here. He's definitely about to do some work. And then they had the bad guy. I don't know if you knew. Did you watch the live Jungle Book? Not the newer ones, but the older ones when he was older.
Wait,
I think
what?
No, he didn't play in Mortal Kombat, but he do look like the guy that played in Mortal Kombat. But the guy that played in Jungle Book.
I've seen both live versions of Jungle Book.
Threatens our plans.
So the one when he's older, right?
A warrior.
Oh, it was like an older movie?
No, he's like an older person. He's older. He's not like a kid version. He's grown. And
yeah, no. I mean, Tarzan?
It came out when I was younger, so it was a movie that I used to watch on VHS all the time.
Okay.
And he also played Bruce Lee. I think he played Bruce Lee in when they did a remake of his history or something like that. But
okay.
He's the bad guy. If you didn't know who he was, because he has all the stars, but I don't know his name. He's just, I've seen him on a lot of movies when I was younger. But he did his thing. So I think they did a good job casting throughout the movie. I actually saw May at the end of it. She had like one line throughout the whole movie. She was like, "This is Mulan." Then she goes over and sit down. I was like, "They go May for Shield." Everybody up in this thing. So I hope the Chinese culture like seeing themselves on a movie and not having to see a white lead and them on a movie. Just them being in the movie, portraying themselves, and being the lead and the main attraction. So I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I watched it about 2 or 3 times. So bless you, sir. Bless you.
I don't have on my mask. Right. Protect yourself. It's getting real, right? You need to put that in there, right in the middle of your girl Cardi B. Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let me see here. I have some things about this movie that I was like, I didn't really care for. Okay, first of all, I didn't like the fact that she did not look like a dude, like at all. She didn't look like a dude, didn't sound like a dude. That's a girl. I mean, she's got these soft eyebrows, the way her hair looks, the way her shoulders look. It's like, that's a girl. And it's like, there's one scene later where she has on something, it's like some type of hat, and it goes real down low over her eyes. It's like, okay, I could see that she might look like a dude, but other than that, no, you look straight like a girl. They could have, with everything that Disney could bring to that, I feel like they could have done a much better job of making that a more convincing dude. You know what I mean? I don't know if you agree with that at all, but every time I looked at her, I
guess the only thing I would say about that is if you didn't see her as a woman, like at the beginning of the movie, like you just, and like if they never showed you she was just there, already dressed like that, will we automatically think that was a girl, just like that's Chinese guy?
Yeah, yes, because I've seen girls before.
I've seen girls too, but I'm saying when they had the hair tied up and none of them have facial hair, her bone structure, I mean, they had on armor, so I don't know. If I never saw her before, I think I could just say, hey. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad.
She looks straight like a girl to me.
Well, here, Superman walks around with glasses as a costume, and nobody knows who he is. So, who cares?
Yes, but if Superman was a girl, I would know. I would know that. Also, I thought it was really weird, and I guess he probably pays, homage to the cartoon some. I just thought it was really weird that when she became Mulan, like she, was like, all right, I'm just gonna accept my femininity, and they're gonna have to accept who I am. That she took her armor off. That was just kind of weird. Like, all right, being a woman is not gonna keep you from getting stabbed. You know what I'm saying? You need to keep this armor on, Mulan. Like, what you doing? You know? But I guess they had to show off, that beautiful flowing red, So in that sense, they had to. It made more sense. Yeah. She had to be beautiful, really. Being beautiful was more important than being realistic in terms of the military. Safe. Yeah, exactly. But I guess what we say when we play video games with girls in bikinis, fighting each other.
True.
I thought the thing with the witch, I thought that was interesting. I definitely didn't see. I like the part where the witch tried to convince Mulan to come with her, and I like how they draw the connection between the two of them, that they were the same. And she almost went the Darth Vader route, like, join me, father and son, or we're two cousins, I like that part. I thought that was cool. I wish they had done more with that, because it's like your girl, she wasn't really good at it. She's like, yeah, I've been trying to kill all your people, but come and join me. No. Well, okay. She didn't really try that hard, you know what I mean? Like, she could have done a better job of being more persistent, because to be perfectly honest, I think that she had a sale there, honestly. If she had just pursued it a little bit harder and talked about, look, they just threw you out. Like, you just surpassed everybody, and they literally just threw you out, for you to die on your own. I think she honestly could have possibly turned her somehow. I also thought it was interesting how the sorceress, the witch, turned against the main girl and protected Mulan at the end. I didn't see that coming at all. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, I wish the story had gone in a different direction, because to me, the whole time, I was waiting for her to come up and serve whatever dude's name is, Genghis Khan or whatever he was. I was waiting on the witch to kill him. I mean, because she's turned into birds. She's coming into a whole armada of bats. Like, yeah, this dude ain't got nothing on her. Like, why are you following him?
She did tell him that, like, I could kill you in an instant. Like, right. But you won't do it, witch, because, he pulled a witch on her. She wanted to be accepted. So right. She had to, like, I gotta listen to you, type of thing.
Listen, he let him kill the emperor. You kill him. Now everybody accepts you. It's just that easy. So those type of things kind of took me out. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the review, some of the weird stuff with, like, her, kicking the bow staff and all this type of stuff across the field. And just look, if he had just jumped off the horse and started beating the hell out of people, I would have been much more appreciative of that than her doing some of the random stuff that just didn't look good. Don't get me wrong, like, I can appreciate the witch turning into a bunch of bats, but that looked good. You know what I mean? It's the stuff that doesn't look good to me that bothers me. So, all right, that's all I got to say about this. Oh, did you recognize Donnie Yen as the teacher?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher, yeah. He was on
forces with me, and I went to forces.
Oh, you said you were going to say why they were boycotting. What was the boycott about?
Oh yes. Okay, so the lead character, the lady who played her. So Hong Kong is its own. Was a part of the United Kingdom for a while. Okay, it was even though Hong Kong is in China, it was technically a part of Britain. Britain had taken it over. Britain gave Hong Kong back to China sometime in the late 90s. Okay, mm-hmm. Since that time, because of the treaty or agreement that they made, Hong Kong was still going to be able to keep some of its culture, which is a lot more, about democracy, as opposed to China's all communism. But they've been having a lot of problems, and the Chinese government is coming in now and really enforcing how things are going to be done. And there's been a lot of protests in there, and the Chinese government is coming down hard on those protests. And the lady who played the main character was like cheering on the cops, and cheering on them for doing that. Like, yeah, break them down. So imagine if everything was flipped. In our country, you have mm-hmm. everything that's going on here, and you have Black Lives Matter protesters out there, and some of the the authorities out there, doing whatever they are doing to him. Imagine if somebody else in another country was saying, hey, no, well, imagine if somebody was saying, hey, you know, these people, they need to get beat down, you know, and then other people were watching that person as the star of a movie. That wouldn't go too well. You know, so it's the same type.
The main character was the one that they're talking about.
Yeah, the person that played the main character was all about, you know, beat these protesters down and, you know, make them pay and all this type of stuff. And it's just, you know, I know it sounds isolated and away from us. Like, why would we care about that? Again, if it were us, if it were somebody that was all about, you know, beat down the Black Lives Matter protesters, you know, other people watch it, and that person went on to become the next hero in the next Marvel movie. People in other countries watching us, you know, or even us, we probably wouldn't appreciate that very much. You know what I mean? There might be some protests, so yeah. Boycotts.
Interesting. Well, I already put $30.
And in honor of that, that's why I went to sleep in the movie.
Yeah, you went to sleep in the movie.
And I also did not pay $30.
Oh, look at you.
All right, sir. So, how many chucks would you give this video? This movie?
I would give this movie a solid 8 chucks. I really like it. 8 chucks. I like it. I thought it was a good watch. I watched it a few times. I like how it had certain things from the old movie, and then they kind of did a nice little twist. I like how they put the music. They just put the instrumental version, but I like how they tie some of the music into some of the movie live action. So I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. Really,
all right.
I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm going to give this an inconclusive amount of chucks.
Inconclusive.
Yeah, inconclusive chucks. Because I mean, you can't. Yes. Since I went to sleep, I don't think it's fair to give, particularly since I think I went to sleep like during part of the fight scene between Mulan and the main bad guy. So there may have been something about that really made me say, "Oh, this is great." You know, like if you just miss some talking or something like that, that's one thing. But I feel like if I went to sleep during some of the climax, I don't think I'm able to really give a good, you know, rating on it. But I just will say, of the things that I saw, there were just some things that I didn't really like. I thought the movie was okay, and then add those things that I really didn't care for. It's like, but I'm not going to rank it just off of that. So I'm gonna give it an inconclusive amount of chucks. It's like a chuck with no shoestrings, basically. All right. So if you like what we did, make sure you leave us a like. Let us see here. Somebody needs some help with the Mediterranean 4 account. If you like what we did, make sure you leave us a like here on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever it is that you see us. As usual, you've got to subscribe. This is Color Commentary, where we give you views from a different side. We're going to make a man out of you.